you ready? Yeah? Okay.
Working together for a senior action project, we wanted to find something that really was big in our lives, and we wanted to influence future lives and maybe even Lincoln Lutheran's athletics, specifically the track and field program, which we are both very invested in.
We wanted to approach this solution from the aspect of encouraging fitness among youth, but also by creating interest in the sport of track and field itself, as it seems to be a sport that many people know about, but not a ton of people invest in. So, Colton and I have both participated in Lincoln Lutheran's track and field program since the 7th grade, and we have spent countless hours dedicating our time and effort into this program and making it successful.
And then because more students tend to be exposed to sports like soccer and baseball before they come to Lincoln Lutheran, just because there's more little leagues for them, there's not a whole lot of little league track clinics for kids. Track is ignored because children were so much more familiar with those sports. Through this project, we want to have kids see what track is like before they come to Lincoln Lutheran, so that if they attend middle school or high school here, they won't automatically default to a sport they've played before, like soccer, baseball. Instead, track and field becomes a more feasible and familiar choice to them.
So if any of you have been involved or around the community of Lincoln Lutheran activities, you might be familiar with the youth athletic camps that the school puts on in the summer. There are camps for volleyball, basketball, soccer, and football that have all been open to students about 3rd to 8th grade and sometimes even younger than that. So they're getting a lot of kids involved. However, the past few years, the Lincoln Lutheran Track and Field Camp has only been available to kids entering 6th through 8th grade. So these are kids that are already in middle school instead of getting even the elementary children involved and familiar with the program before they come here. So that was frustrating to me, because how can we expect students to go out for track if they have never been or had the chance to experience what it's like when they get here? So that's why I think it is important that a youth camp for track at Lincoln Lutheran is open to kids even as young as 3rd grade. So our desire for Lincoln Lutheran's track program to succeed is not the only motivating factor behind this project. As you can see up here, according to health.gov, the United States earned a D- in overall physical activity in the U.S. report card on physical activity for children and youth. And as one who's quite particular about my grades, D- kind of makes me do a double take, especially when the study takes into consider the whole youth population of the United States. In response to this shocking fact, we thought it was important not to only encourage technicalities in the track program itself, but also increasing the amount of kids that will get involved in order to keep them healthy and active.
So, like Josie said, the lack of physical activity comes from a lot of inactivity of sports. If you follow me over here, you can see that inactivity as a whole has raised 5%, and this is kids middle school and high school. You can see in these respective sports, baseball, basketball, and football, it's gone down 6.3%, 4.9% respectively. And when asked about this, 50% of all the kids said that they quit these sports because of injury or risk to injury.
So not only is there a lack of daily physical activity, but there's also been quite a struggle to increase the amount of youth that are at an acceptable fitness level. So according to the Baseline of Health Foundation, the overall percentage of young people at an acceptable fitness who were tested between 1990 and 2000, including boys and girls, was 52%. However, in the 12 years following that, when another study was done, those rates had dropped to 42% overall, which this also has shown that it's still decreasing today. But another factor that is influencing health is also the annual decline in the cardiorespiratory fitness. Cardiorespiratory fitness is the ability of the circulatory and respiratory systems to supply the skeletal muscles with oxygen when someone is exercising. And so the study director for Center of Disease Control and Prevention shares that it is one of the indicators of lifelong health, reduced disease risk, and also increasing life expectancy. So because there's such a direct correlation between that can be addressed by participation in sports and increasing cardiorespiratory fitness, it shows that things like track and field can also have lifelong benefits.
And then only approximately 24% of youth ages 6 to 17 participate in the recommended 60 minutes of physical activity each day, and that is according to health.gov. Well, track and field differs from a lot of the sports that I showed you in the previous tab that I've been going down, because it offers well-rounded beneficial workouts. Track and field workouts help burn body fat and speed up metabolism, which helps athletes run, reach, and maintain a healthy body weight from bodybuilding.com. This addresses the problem of making sure that kids are in the best condition possible so their overall health is able to improve, and that carries not only to their lives, but also other sports that they might do.
A study done by researchers at Cambridge University shows that running and track workouts help benefit cognitive growth. Specifically, they help lead to the growth of new brain cells that improve your ability to recall memories. It also helps increase your learning and also improves performance of the brain while completing other cognitive tasks. And so besides mental health, it also is beneficial to the safety and performance of kids in other sports as well. The National Federation of State High School Associations says that specialized athletes, people who choose to do one sport only all year round, the same sport, sustain 60% more new lower extremity injuries during the study than athletes who did not specialize. So this shows that it can make you less prone to injuries if you're participating in other sports. If you also do track, it can help provide that balance that helps prevent other injuries. However, it can also be something that helps improve your performance. For example, if someone is, no, I don't want to go out for a spring sport, I'd rather focus on volleyball, basketball. Well, track can actually help build the speed, strength, and agility that can help benefit you in these other sports as well.
And we saw that this year. We had Noah Stever, who's playing football in college next year, where he came out for track to throw. And then my last point here is friendly community building. We all kind of joke in the team that we're family instead of just friends. And I've kind of realized that with this whole injury that I've had. So many people just have been there for me. So it's just been a really cool experience that you don't always get in other sports, just because you're spending whole days with each other at track meets and everything. So what we decided to do to help remedy this is we put on the first Lincoln Lutheran Youth Track and Field Camp. And we chose grades 3 to 8 because we felt like 3 and 8 grades 3 to 8 were a good choice, because younger than that they might not be able to get everything out of it, like the technique and stuff that we wanted them to focus on. And then we chose Saturday, April 13th, mainly because that was one of the few days that we did not have prior engagements to, just between our busy lives. And then we chose mid-morning, and we chose to do it here with Coach G as our supervisor, who was super great. And then we also had Hope Leinbach, Gretchen Mull, Trevor LeGrand, Ben Mull, and Noah LaRue, who all helped us along with this. And we both wanted to choose people that had been doing track for a long time, or seniors that knew what they were doing, but at the same time, we wanted younger people instead of some of these older coaches that it's been so long since they're these kids' ages, they don't always know what's going through these kids' head and everything. So I find, just like coaching younger kids, I might be able to catch some things that other coaches don't, just because we still do these sports and everything, these events.
So our mode of advertisement, we kind of had 3 different sections or categories. First off, we composed an email and sent them out to all the elementary schools that are associated with Lincoln Lutheran, so Christ, Messiah, Trinity, and Faith. We contacted their principals, asking them to put something out on their social media pages, also contacting their teachers, putting it in the announcements. Also, we sent them an attachment to this beautiful flyer that Colton made, and they distributed these and handed them out to kids in the grades that we had invited, so that they'd have something physical to take home and show their parents, so it raised more awareness and it wasn't just going to the kids.
Along with that, we also went around to all the accesses, which is kind of like our high school APs, except it's just kind of like 45 minutes for the middle schoolers to have some time to work on homework and talk with each other. And we just kind of told them about the camp, when it was, what time it was, what kind of to expect, answered any questions they had, and told them that it'd be a really great way to find out more about what high school track would be like for them. So.
All right, so the goal of our camp was to take an in-depth look at technique. Most of the time when you get into high school or middle school track, a lot of coaches are already focusing on building strength, speed, not so much on the detail work and technicalities that it takes to excel. And so usually kids are serious about their technique. They'll go to clinics at nearby colleges or universities to learn more. However, I thought Colton and I had a lot to offer, having been to some of those camps. There's a basic amount of technique that we could share with them to help them excel in their events once they do get into middle school and high school. So here is a layout of our camp schedule that Colton's going to just kind of read.
So the camps are at 10, and before that we're just going to have them arrive. And then at 10, we're going to welcome, introduce all the people that we're going to help, and then have a little devotion and prayer, because obviously, even though we're going to have fun with track and everything, Jesus still comes first. And then after that, we're going to kind of lay out the purpose of the camp and just let them know, so they kind of have like a mental schedule of how the day is going to go, so we don't catch them off guard with anything. And then we're going to start a warm-up routine which would be jog for 2 minutes and then line up for active dynamics, which is just kind of stretching and some basic just kind of getting the blood flowing by doing some lunges and other stuff like that. And after that, we'd split up into grades and we'd form 5 different groups based on ages. And we would then put them in groups and they'd be sprint mechanics, blocks, hurdles, jumps, and throws. And then we're going to do a station situation, so they have about 15 minutes at each station, so they could get a good kind of idea what it was, help them with technique if they need it, but also introduce them to events that they might not normally be able to do in the situations. After that, we decided to have some fun with them, so we go do some fun relays out on the track, and then finally we do some type of running game or competition in the gym if it was raining, if we cannot do that. And after that, we'd meet back together in the gym, have some snacks, answer any questions they could have, just kind of have some good fun time with them until parents pick them up.
So, in all seriousness, here's what actually happened. 2 kids showed up, debatably because their parents made them. Now you'll get a kick out of this. They're both my brothers. However, we decided to still go through our camp because we thought it was important to share with them and let them try some new things. So even if there's only a fraction of the people that we hoped would show up. We had a lot of fun with them, showing them new things. On the next few slides, we're going to show you what we did. Because there were such few people, we decided to focus on things they were interested in. So we focused on hurdles specifically, which they hadn't tried before, and also throwing, which they both had tried a little bit before. So we have some active dynamics, taking them through warm-ups, some hurdle stretching to get ready for our drills. There's some video pictures of our actual drills that we did. We made Johnny use big hurdles, we made Jesse use little hurdles. And then we also had Gretchen Mall help us out with that throwing technique because Colton and I do not have ample experience in that area. Okay.
So some of the successes we had is we put out a great advertisement that kind of laid out what the camp would be and what time it was and everything like that. We created a waiver so if anything did happen, God forbid it wouldn't come back on us in the school or anything. And we combined fun and fitness. We had a good time with the kids that showed up. And we did get them active, especially Jesse was really hopping at the end of it. And then we did get some good technique, especially with Johnny, because he was a little bit older, so we got a little bit more out of him, especially in hurdles and everything. And we did get them exposure to new events. Neither of them had tried hurdles before, so it was really cool thing to do with them. And then they also learned the new, just like some of those hurdling drills that we did, and also some like better throwing form and technique and stuff like that.
So there were a lot of future notes that we had if we choose to do another camp in the future. Advertising earlier, formulating a plan further in advance, and also finding a more convenient date all stemmed from the same problem. We're high schoolers who have very busy schedules, and it was hard to find a date that didn't conflict with practices, competitions, and even Easter rolling around, and also weather, because that's been a bit of a tough time here. But it just so happened that the day we did choose fell on the Husker Spring Game featuring Scott Frost. Safe to say Scott Frost pulled in a few more folks than we did. But I think if we had more time and had a more open schedule, we would have definitely improved our turnout. Also due to the time crunch, this is my fault. I did not create a sign-up sheet. Because it was such short notice, I figured, bad logic, that if we just didn't have a sign-up, that people wouldn't feel as pressured to like, oh, it takes too much time, we just won't go. Instead, they'd just be able to show up. Obviously, that's something we would change in the future, again, when we have more time. And also doing more verbal announcements earlier on, making sure people are interested and just making, like, having a personal, like, connection with someone kind of, like, helps influence them to come participate as well.
So, did we accomplish our goal of encouraging fitness and creating interest in the track and field program? Definitely the first one. Anytime that we were able to get youth involved in physical activity and exercise and also make it fun is definitely 100% we completed that. It also encourages them to engage in such activities more often in the future. When people have a positive experience with something, it tends to be an activity that they're willing to do again and again. On the other hand, do we create interest? That's a little harder one. Maybe a little. Obviously, we did not reach the amount of people that we were hoping, but we did get the name out a lot. Like we got a lot of people from all those elementary schools and all the access kids. So we did say track and field and kind of get it just in their minds and let them know that it's more of a sport that can like be really done in high school and taken seriously just like all the other ones can. So
There were definitely some conflicts that came our way, but next time we plan a camp, if we choose to do something this summer and have more time, we'll be better equipped to succeed by adjusting our approach based on the things we learned from our attempt this time. So, thank you for listening.
thank you very much.